Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for showing up for the 7 p.m. Q&A session. I just want to give some quick reminders about what this session is exactly. Um, you have the lecture videos already on the board. Okay, so here they are, week one. As a matter of fact, if I go into that activity, let me enter it in preview mode. You can see that the lecture videos are all here. They total 43 minutes, so that's not terribly long. And if you're someone who doesn't like to watch them all in one batch, you can even watch them one at a time. First is 7 minutes, 8 minutes, so on. Um, so yeah, the lecture videos are already up on the site and they're up for the entire month. Okay, so every week when those activities open, you already have the lecture videos on the platform for you to watch. So there are no required go-to sessions. These are simply Q&A sessions and attending. Well, attending isn't the only thing. I've gone into the week one lecture board, okay, and you'll see that the very first post is for me. And if you read through this, I admit, long post, yeah, it explains everything. But basically, we want to make sure that students are keeping up with the work because when students watch the lectures, they tend to do pretty well. But if they fall behind and don't, that's when problems can occur. So yeah, we ask sort of for what's called a participation requirement. Basically, we're asking for proof or evidence that you're keeping up with things, and you have three ways to satisfy that requirement. You can attend one of these Q&A sessions and be prepared to ask a specific question over the week's material. So that probably means, for most people, the lecture video material, but it can also include the McGraw-Hill readings. By the way, I realize that textbook codes are on back order. I hope that the situation gets resolved soon. And if it has been resolved, someone can go ahead and tell me. But usually these things take just a couple days. But yeah, people can ask questions about the videos, something they saw in the readings, very, very specific questions about the assignments. And yeah, that satisfies your lecture participation requirement. If you don't want to show up for these go-to sessions, you're not required. Okay, they're not mandatory. I don't have lecture material to go over, though I'll answer any questions that people have. You can also choose to ask your question directly on the board or take handwritten notes from the videos and upload a screenshot of these notes. And there are certain months where people love this option, probably because it's kind of, you get to be in the shadows a bit. You don't have to step forward and ask questions. And as you can see, some people have already started asking questions on the board. Okay, I don't think anybody's uploaded notes yet, though in one of my other classes they did. So yeah, these are Q&A sessions. So I guess maybe I'll start things off by asking, and you can be honest, how many people have watched the lecture videos? And who needs to, quite honestly, still catch up and start watching them? Okay, Murad did, Lev did. Okay, good. It looks like a number of people have. A couple of people are maybe remaining silent. I don't know what that means. Okay, someone's watched half of them. Emily watched them a few days ago. Okay, great. So why don't we kick things off? Specific questions you have over anything that regards and that's connected to this week. Either something you saw in the lecture that you're unclear about, something about the upcoming assignment, which is due Sunday. It's mostly filling out a worksheet. I guess I could have that open just in case we need that. But fire away. Yeah, Sean, if you have a few questions, go ahead. You can either, I mean, it's probably easiest if you type your question in the chat. I can unmute you so you can speak out loud, but um, I don't know, it's complicated. I have to disconnect my headphone for some reason. Um, okay, Sean, you prefer to be unmiked? Let me try that out. Let me find your name here.
Well, first of all, the course
Okay,
was
it should
more
work now. So, Sean, go
involved,
ahead.
and I
You're
guess I've
unmuted.
realized that I don't think.
Oh, wait. 1 second. 1 second. I have my
Uh,
other headphones
broke the
plugged in.
camera.
Okay, start again,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, all right. First of all, I've noticed this class takes a lot more
No, I'm not hearing you at all.
thinking.
This is the
I,
problem.
I, I'll type it. I'll type it.
What am I doing wrong here? That's right. That's right. Hold on, maybe I have to do the opposite. Hold on. Yeah, thanks. Or you can try again, but for some reason, even when I unplugged things, I wasn't hearing you. And I do not know what the issue is. Yeah, everybody else can hear him, but I can't. Let me try one more time. Let me check audio settings. I mean, Sean, if you want to talk while you're typing just to test it out, I should be able to hear you.
Check.
There we go. Now I hear you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess my biggest question is all the assignments on the other web page. What's it, Hallman?
McGraw Hill.
All the assignments say that they're late
Oh,
and
yeah.
behind schedule.
I'm sorry. You know what? Someone raised that in the 2 p.m. session, and I started to fix it, but let me go back and see if I can fix it right now. In the meanwhile, is
It,
there another question?
what had happened was I seen they were late, so I started trying to go through the exercise faster to catch up, and I realized that I wasn't retaining the information when I got to the questions.
Right.
So not only did I realize that I don't think as read as critically as I should, um, I can't. I realized I can't get in a rush, but that just threw me off. So I had to go back and check and make sure what when the assignments were due. Uh,
Right. No,
Not really a question,
that's
but
my
more
bad,
of a statement.
and I'm going to try to fix it right now. Okay, now it should be fixed. Okay. The
Great,
dates were incorrect. I apologize for that.
no problem.
So for this week, for example, I think it's parts 1, 2, and 3, maybe.
Correct.
So yeah, you only have to do. Let me go back there. This stuff. Okay. And
Right.
there's
I'm right at the end of the second one.
okay. And for everyone, there's a smart book reading walkthrough where I basically show you what you need to do because there are some practice questions you have to click on in order to truly
I,
complete things to 100%.
I do have one more question
Yeah.
about the smart book because for some reason I started with that first instead of going to the book, and I started answering the questions, and I realized that I was wrong because I didn't know anything that I was answering, and I thought it was maybe the test to see where I was at. Is that going to affect my grade, or can I go read?
You've answered all of
Go
the
back to the beginning,
questions
start
relevant to
over.
the topics you've read about so far.
Hold on. Shut up. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to mute you for just a second. Okay.
Sure.
And I'll show this in real time. You have specific readings, right? So, um, because I've done this in the past, I'm actually further along than I need to be. But the readings are typically short, and the highlighted stuff is what's most important. But once you've gotten through the reading, then you have to make sure that you click practice.
You've answered all of the questions.
Yeah, I know I've answered all the questions. And then because you've done the reading, you should be able to answer these questions. Like, which of the following questions should you ask about the reader? Okay, and you check all that apply, and then you list how sure or unsure you are. And I'll probably embarrass myself by getting this wrong. What following questions should you ask about the reader? uh, I don't know. How about this one? I'm just going to guess wildly because I don't want to take too much time. How about this one? Uh, Maybe this. See, if I do the reading, then I know the answers. Questions you should ask about the readers. Uh, I don't know. This one seems tempting too, but I can't believe that 4 out of the 6 options are all correct. Um, Okay, let's say that I think so, okay? I'm a little bit sure, but I'm not completely sure. Okay, it looks like I got all of them right except one. And you can see as you answer questions, the number of items decreases. And basically, you're trying to get this down to 0. So, which one of the following rhetorical situations is most likely to require formal language? This one's easy. It's got to be a cover letter to a resume. I know it. Boom. Drop to 2 items. And as soon as you get to 0 items, you've basically completed things. Then you just have to make sure you can always go here to check your progress, and it will show you how far along you are. So you can tell I'm 71% of the way done. So if I basically get those 2 items down to 0, I'll be 100% done. It's that simple. Okay. So there's some short readings. You answer those practice questions, and then you're good to go. Does this make sense to everyone? Let me see. I think I missed some previous questions. Emily says, I have no idea where to find to write an AMA. I think you mean APA. That you're used to MLA. Yeah, you have a number of, first of all, for week 2, the McGraw-Hill readings and practice questions will connect to APA. Certain activities haven't opened up yet because we haven't gotten there, but I have a walkthrough video that I created. This covers layouts, so how to create the cover page, everything from paragraph to spacing. In the second half of the video, I show step-by-step how to create references that go on the references page. Underneath assignment 2, which is the actual essay itself. So we're not there yet, but that's not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday when you hand in a draft of your essay, which is an ad analysis. Yeah, it's expected to be an APA format, but you have more APA documents here. Okay, so you have lots of APA help. And anytime you're confused about anything, you can ask me. Okay, I know APA really well. It is different than MLA, but they're similar in the sense that they're both attempting to do the same thing. They just have entirely different rules for how to do that. So yeah, it requires a little bit of relearning, but it's not terribly difficult if you spend time with the walkthrough video, the documents that are under here. Okay. Terrence says, whenever I try to bring up my Learn Smart Achieve, it's just a bunch of boxes, no words. Yeah, I have another student who's had a similar problem. I'm going to go ahead and type in the number for FSO support. Even though this might not be a question they can absolutely help you with, but they might be able to identify troubleshooting issues. 877-437-6349. Okay. McGraw-Hill also has a support button. They have a troubleshooting area and a contact us area, so things get really bad. But yeah, I'm not sure why that could possibly happen. It sounds like a local issue, so I would say try a different browser. Make sure that your machine is compatible. I believe the troubleshooting tab here even will do a diagnostic on your machine to make sure that it's fully supportable. If worst comes to worst, find a different computer. But yeah, that shouldn't be happening. That sounds like a local issue, something about your machine. Okay, let's see, did I miss anything else here? Don't think so. Okay, so any other specific questions? Because again, in order to satisfy the lecture participation requirement, attending, I hate to be the mean instructor, but just showing up for the session isn't enough. You have to have specific questions. Lev says, had a question about writing paragraphs. The video talked about what needs to be in a paragraph substance-wise, but can you be more clear on what you would want from our essay paragraphs? Yes, and when we get closer to the essay, I'll even maybe send out in an announcement a suggested outline for people to follow. And actually, why don't we talk a little bit about, I think I have it open, so hold on. No, that's not it. Maybe I don't have it open. Oh no, actually it's here. Hold on, I got so many windows open, I don't know where I am. Here we go. Okay, so if you've looked through all the week's materials, you'll know that you have to choose one of these 6 ads. Okay, 4 of them are literally like film commercials, the type you'd see on television, and the final 2 are just still print ads. Okay, so it's not a commercial, it's like a print ad you would see in a magazine. And your task will be to perform an analysis. of whichever commercial you choose or print ad. Okay, and the one you choose, you're sticking with for the month. So choose one, not just that you like, but one that you feel like you can say something about. So, Lev, when you ask about what we want from your essay paragraphs, again, I'll be a bit more detailed and even help you out with organization next week. But in general, it's going to be whatever analysis points you want to make. For example, the liquid plumber commercial, which is very funny, or you could find it very offensive. It uses sex as its kind of main theme. Obviously, an analysis would have to go beyond just stating the obvious, like it uses sex to sell. There's more specific things you could say about that. But for instance, you might have 3 specific things you want to talk about. Maybe in one paragraph you want to discuss the target audience, or maybe in another paragraph you want to talk about what specific technique is being used. Okay, not just the general sex sells, but what it's specifically doing or playing upon. So it's a little bit difficult, Lev. It's you do have freedom for what you're going to put in your essay. And in general, the lecture videos are talking about just the fundamentals of solid paragraphs. You're speaking about one topic per paragraph, okay? And that paragraph develops that idea, that single idea that you wish to discuss for that paragraph. So I don't know if that's too general for you, but that's kind of where we're heading. Emily says, I wonder why we're using all these different websites. Why couldn't everything be on LMS? Yeah, I know. I understand that, believe me. It used to be, it was FSO and McGraw-Hill. But Turnitin, I used to use it in the past, but as a department, we've gone back to all instructors using it simply because it checks for plagiarism. It's the easiest way to make sure that doesn't happen. So yeah, the downside is you're running to several different sites. But the good news is it's most maybe hectic in week 1 when you're getting signed up for everything. After that, you'll see how easy it is. The McGraw-Hill stuff is not difficult. The readings are not long. As a matter of fact, I kind of consider them gimme points. So you'll quickly see how that's true. So I'd say be patient. It seems like it's a lot of stuff in a lot of different places, but overall, I think you'll be happy because, yeah, they're easy grades. And they help you learn. So it's not just that they're easy grades, but in addition, yeah, you have the readings and you have to complete those practice things. You also have these modules, okay? 1 per week. And they're also very simple. You click on it, it opens things up. And basically, if you can complete the modules to 100%, you get 100 points. If you complete it to 86%, you get an 86. But there's no reason why people shouldn't get 100%. For instance, I will get back to your questions in a second. Let me go back to home. Let me just take a... Is this us? Oh, actually, I'm kind of in the wrong class, but that's okay because it's the same thing. You're going to be doing the exact same thing. And actually, it's good that I'm in a different class because, okay, I mean, I shouldn't be doing this, but you don't know these people. So here's the week 4 module, and you can see, I mean, people finish things to 100%, and those are just easy A's. So yeah, take advantage of those points because it adds up to something like 20% of your grade. The readings, I think, add another 20%. Professionalism, so if you hand in all work on time and you're more or less professional, that's another easy 10%. So yeah, 50% of the grade is kind of in your back pocket if you will take it. So I hope that offsets the pain of going to several different places. Emily says, also, what is the minimum number of sentences and paragraphs? I know most teachers say it was 5 plus. I think that's a good rule of thumb. I mean, obviously, depending on the type of essay, a paragraph could even be a single sentence. But yes, when we think of traditional paragraphs, 4 to 5 sentences, depending on their length, sounds a bit standard. For this essay, probably you'll have at least 5 sentences in a paragraph. Lev says, I turned in a creative writing project and turned in once, and it gave me 1% plagiarism. Yeah, that's a good rating. 1% means that probably there was no plagiarism at all, but who knows? Maybe just a single phrase happened to, just by pure chance, connect with something that was written by someone somewhere else, but that's completely accidental. But yeah, plagiarism, that becomes a concern when the report shows like 20% or higher. And that, even then, that's usually not evidence of plagiarism. That's usually evidence of someone maybe relying a bit too heavily on quotations. So quotations are making up 20% of the paper. Yeah, actually, to be honest, plagiarism would be a much higher rating. 50%, 60%. Wendell says, in the case of technical challenges, if we can't find a solution and we have proof, is there exception to the no late work rule policy? I mean, it depends what the technical challenges are. I mean, are you experiencing any yet? Because it wasn't you who asked the question about the LSA, was it? And how it's just empty boxes, or was that you? No, that was Terrence. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm understanding of technical issues. So if there really is a serious concern, we can talk about it. But these issues, they never happen. So if there's something serious, it's your. Let me put it this way: it's your job to let me know about it. Okay, well in advance. Jasper says, I already did notes. I don't have any questions. Do I need to attend this? No, Jasper, if you want to go ahead and upload your notes, no, you don't have to be here. You're more than welcome to hang out and listen to questions people have because they might be useful for you. But yeah, no, these aren't required. This is quite a bit different than maybe you remember from creative presentation, or if you're taking English, maybe you took it again and it didn't stick, so you're taking it another time around. Yeah, we don't have official lectures. Okay, and there's good and bad about that. I mean, I like having 1 hour go-to lectures with students, but there is something appealing too about just having all the material on the platform, so you can attack it whenever you wish. Morad says, do we have to submit essays to turn it in? Yes, absolutely. Not only because it lets me see, possible issues with plagiarism, although that's not what I'm assuming, but also because it's absolutely required, because come peer review, where you'll look at 2 of your classmates' drafts and give feedback, this is also handled through turnitin.com. So if you don't have an essay submitted to Turnitin, it's not going to be randomly distributed to 2 of your peers. And that means that, it's going to be impossible to complete this activity. I mean, I do have the settings arranged so that even if a student hands in work late, either for a loss of points or for no grade at all, they can still get their paper distributed. But even that date is, it's not forever. Emily says, had problems in the past, tried to put information in my words, had plagiarism problems. Okay. I'm a pretty, how should I put this? I'm probably the easiest instructor in the department. It doesn't mean that I give out gift grades or that students might not. I mean, students can certainly do maybe poorly on a single activity, but the way the course is set up, no single activity can ever torpedo one's grade in the course. And I certainly don't fail people for what I call accidental plagiarism, meaning they just weren't super familiar with citation. I mean, it means you should be doing your best job to make sure that you cite. But I'll help. Okay. What I don't want to see is obviously literally taking someone else's words, putting them in your paper, and not putting quotations around them and including a citation. Okay. Lev says, do we have to have a screenshot, both reading Learn Smarter Tribe, or just to tell you we did it? It tells me you did it, but the screenshot helps me. It's nice if you can do it, simply because I can just look and then enter the grade without having to search McGraw-Hill. Okay. But any specific questions about what we're doing in terms of the ad analysis? Because maybe I should say a few things about that. Okay, so you're choosing an ad, and you're ultimately going to discuss something specific that you see going on. Okay. There are a lot of different options here, a lot of interesting options. 2 of these are international commercials. Okay. As a matter of fact, this one, which is for a laundry detergent, isn't in English, but you can still glean a lot from just watching it. In other words, you can understand its message, and you can discuss it. But yeah, all of you will be choosing an ad. All of you will find something interesting and specific that you wish to examine in the ad, which you'll explore in a short essay. And for this Sunday, you basically have to fill out a worksheet, okay, which is this guy here. Actually, I already had it open, but okay. So you'll answer some specific questions about the ad, what it contains, what it's doing. Okay, this is to get you kind of brainstorming and thinking about what's going on in the ad so that you can ultimately identify something interesting to discuss in your essay. But that's what's due for Sunday. So yeah, it's a worksheet. I mean, be sure that you're answering these things with care, but that's really your first step for this week. Francis says, I notice in How to Research you want us to focus on scholarly researches rather than popular. Can I still put attention to our popular researches? Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. And actually, that's another good reminder. No, it's here. Or maybe not. Hold on. Let me open one more thing. How do I get into this? Okay, this way. One of your sources has actually been provided for you. No, that's not right either. Even I get lost in this platform sometime. Hold on. It's under readings. Okay. So one of your research articles has actually been given to you if you want to use it. You just have to find then two more. It's this article here. Originally there was a link here, but it wasn't working for a lot of people, so I just downloaded the article and put the PDF on here. So all you have to do is click on it. It's a very, very difficult article. As a matter of fact, I was a little bit shocked that the department chose this article for you to read. And that's not meant to be insulting or patronizing. I'm not trying to suggest at all, oh, my students aren't bright enough. No, I had trouble. I started reading this and thought, oh my gosh, is this dense? I mean, it's academic. So if you do find the article too challenging, I ask you to please read the middle section called Ethos in the Classroom, because here you see the author give an example of a BMW ad and make the sorts of comments about it that you could possibly make in your papers. Okay. It uses sex as its kind of main metaphor, but the comments the author makes goes beyond just stating blandly sex sells, right? No, it makes very, very specific observations about the ad and even about the company and what it means. So that might be useful, so you can see an example of kind of what we're aiming for. So yeah, at the very least, try to read that middle section, and you can skip the stuff if you want to that surrounds it. That's very, very dense. Has anybody read this yet? Because I know that you're probably making your way through all the week one materials, but it does say you must read this article. So I'm curious if anybody's read it yet. Oh, but anyway, to answer Francis's question, yeah, you have one article that you can draw from. So if you want to pull any ideas from that one. But one article does have to come from the Full Sail Library database. And two others can come from general searches. So when you say, for example, Francis, popular researches, I assume you mean like internet. That's fine. But you're going to stay away from stuff that's universally suspicious. So Wikipedia, personal blogs, stuff that just doesn't seem like it's trustworthy. But you're certainly allowed, and this came up in the 2 p.m. session. I mean, what are you specifically researching? It could be as broad as, if your specific ad, let's say you think it deals a lot with gender or race, you could certainly look into specifics that touch on those things. Or you could narrow it down further to, for example, gender and advertising. Or it might be something as specific as researching the specific company. Or maybe one of those ads actually got a lot of attention. I mean, I don't know because I haven't poked around. But who knows? Maybe the liquid polymer ad got some criticism or got some attention. So yeah, I mean, your research could be from the very, very broad to the very, very specific. And I'm fine as long as one comes from the Full Sail Library database. And you shouldn't have a problem finding stuff because it is an academic database. So everybody should know how to get to Full Sail Connect, I assume. And you just scroll down to research databases. You have a number of things to choose, but EBSCOhost is probably the most popular. And you can search everything at once. And again, because this is largely an academic search tool, you should be able to find things on, for example, broad themes or specific aspects of advertising. Okay. And then, yeah, for your other two, again, general internet searches are fine, but make sure that you're using trustworthy stuff. You know, no dictionary.com or Wikipedia or I don't know, stuff like that. Lev says also on the LMS page for SmartBook, it says part 4 as well. Is that correct? I assume so. I mean, Lev, when I actually had a completely different course open when I was showing the McGraw-Hill stuff. And that class actually had a completely different assignment. So yeah, don't freak out if what was on the screen isn't matching entirely what you saw. So if I go in here, actually I already had this open, but yeah, you're right. Parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And if I go to the right spot, okay, well, this is our class, which means I actually fixed the wrong thing. Okay. But yeah, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, you get estimated times. Take maybe 37 minutes, 13 minutes, 16 minutes, 18 minutes. So what does that add up to? Probably just over an hour. Let me fix all this, because if not, the stuff that Sean mentioned is still going to happen. Send you into a panic. Yeah, thinking that it's overdue. I apologize for not having this set up in advance. But you are getting to see what things look like behind the scenes on my end. Okay, let's fix this real quickly, because if I don't do it now, it might fly out of my head later. Let's just set this for the end of October sometime. Okay, fixed. Murat says, I'm sorry, I'm lost. What is this for? What is what for? I'm sorry, I was fixing some things behind the scenes here. You have a number of McGraw-Hill activities. That search thing? Oh, okay. So you'll choose a commercial, right? And here's the thing, your ad, you might have a lot to say about it already, and that's great, but it's commonplace. You know, think of the average article you read or the news story. It typically has quotations or maybe, yeah, an expert lending advice. And so your paper doesn't come across sounding like The World According to Sean or The World According to Lev or The World According to Emily. Yeah, you should be able to draw upon things that help you support the points that you make. And you're going to do research to help you find things. Again, you'll sort of have to start with the ad that you choose and what you think you'd like to specifically discuss. And by the way, feel free to send me messages explaining what you think you'd like to discuss in the ad, and I can help you. I could say, well, that still sounds pretty broad. Have you thought about this? Okay, so we'll get your focus down. And once you know your focus, I think it's going to help you locate things to help support. So, for example, the Liquid Plumber ad. I mean, you might do, again, very, very broad searches in terms of the use of sex in advertising. Or you could do specific research into this ad. Again, maybe it got a lot of attention, or maybe it got controversy, or maybe people have critiqued in general the way that sex is used in advertising. Okay, so yeah, we're trying to find information that strengthens your essay. So it's not just the world according to Terrence. Does this make sense? So sure, if we go back to Full Sail Connect. Okay, maybe I should go on the main page in case you're not sure. You can search for the library under organizations, but it's faster just to choose it from down here. And then once you get to the library, you go to research databases. And you have other tools like LexisNexis. LexisNexis tends to search newspapers mostly, and maybe there's some good stuff in there. But EBSCOhost kind of searches more journals, magazines. Sean says, are we allowed to turn our drafts to be critique? You mean if you want me to take a look at it before you hand it in the second Sunday? Yeah, sure. Francis says, are there any submission examples to help approach the material? No, I'm afraid not. So yeah, that would be useful. If I plan to be ambitious and eventually write an example myself, but yeah, I probably won't have that in place this month. Okay, but yeah, Francis, I'll be helping you next week. Yeah, it's my plan to send out a sample outline to follow. So make sure that you keep you do check out my announcements. Okay, so once you're in here, you could check for, I don't know. Okay, so we get 1,000, almost 1,200 results. The first thing you should always do is limit to full text. That eliminates all the stuff that isn't truly available. So you're only getting results where the full article is in place. We probably don't want things dating all the way back to 1947. So maybe if we limit it to 2000 or later, probably won't eliminate very much. Yeah, just 150 or so. Okay, and then you can see if there's anything interesting that way. At the same time, you can do general internet searches. So I don't even know. Right, so you get the actual commercial, but you never know. I mean, it might be interesting to scan to see if there's been anything that's written about it. Maybe there isn't. But yeah, I mean, you have a lot of ways to go about it. Okay, any other specific questions over this stuff? I mean, for now, I would say my advice is choose a commercial or an ad. Okay, you also have print ads. Here's one for Altoids Wintergreen Mints. Okay. And even though maybe on the surface of things you might not think there's much to say, I actually think that with this one there is a lot to say in terms of what it's doing. So for now, I'd say pick an ad. Think about it. If you can, get in touch with me via message. Throw some ideas around in terms of what you think you'd like to specifically focus on, and I'll help steer you down a focused path. And then it's a matter of just filling out that worksheet, because you'll get even more feedback when I grade it. And yeah, next week I'll be helping even more. Okay, but that's kind of what we're working on. An ad analysis where you build a paper around something specific that you see at work in the ad, not just summarizing it or retelling it or stating, very, very broadly that sex sells or something like that. It will have to be a bit more specific than that, but not tremendously. I'm not asking you to read between the lines and come up with something incredibly unique and groundbreaking. No, just to push a little bit and see the various things that are going on in the ad. Okay, for people who have asked a specific question over this week's material, so just off the top of my head, I know Sean, Francis, and Emily, and a few others have. If you could, it'd be nice if you go to the week 1 lecture board and just make a quick post telling me that you attended the go-to session and asked a question. And for people who haven't, you still have two other options. Okay, you can post a question directly to the board, or you can upload your notes in order to satisfy the lecture participation requirement. Because if you don't do it, there's a 10-point professionalism deduction. And if you ask something, but it's like pretty generic, there's a 5-point deduction. But the task here isn't to be on top of you or to not trust you. It's really just to make sure that people are doing the work. This is meant to be very fast, okay, very quick. You just show me that you've been keeping up and you're fine. Okay, you're welcome, Sean. Yeah, people are good and feel comfortable. You're free to go and enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll hang out a little bit to answer questions. Okay, but thanks so much for showing up. And I'm going to stop the recording now.